Hello everyone, this is Kruti Patel from Pharmaceutical Technology Department, LJ Institute of Pharmacy. Welcome to Pharma Ignite, the official channel of LJ Institute of Pharmacy. In last session, we had started with the micro encapsulation. In today's session, we are going to continue with the micro encapsulation only. In last lecture, we had seen about what is micro encapsulation, what are the microspheres, and what are the applications of micro encapsulation. Now in today's session, we are going to learn about basic materials in manufacturing of microencapsulation, then different types of polymers used in microencapsulation, also the advantages and disadvantages of microencapsulation, and different methods of manufacturing of microencapsulation. So let's start with the topic. First, we will be starting with the basic formulation or basic consideration in the formulation of microencapsulation. As I had told you in last lecture, there are two main types. There are two main things which makes the microencapsulation. The first is the core material and the second is the coating material. Okay. So if we talk about core material, then core material are the substances or API or drug which needs to be encapsulated. Okay, and the coating material, of course, that will be encapsulating our core material. Okay, so let's start with the core material first. If we talk about core material, then they are the specific material to be coated. They can be, as I told you before, they can be in liquid, solid or gaseous form, whatever that can be. Yes, let me clear here one thing. Your core material can be anything. That can be either in liquid form or solid form or in gaseous form. That can be anything. But our final product, our final micro encapsulations will be in solid dosage form only. Okay. As I had told you about gems, chocolate last time, right? So inner part will be solid, or it can be liquid, or it can be gaseous form, but the outer coating material, that will be rigid. Okay, so our final product will be in free flowing solid material. Okay, yes, then with the addition of core material, you can also add your different stabilizers, different diluents or other different excipients, or you can also add rate retardants. Okay, so that will reduce the rate of release of your drug. Moving further, let's talk about coating materials. Now coating materials, that is the essential polymers which will be required to form micro encapsulation. Okay, so this coating material, what material we are choosing is very much important to have proper microcapsules. Okay, so starting with the coating material, the important characteristic that is required is that should be capable of forming film, that also the cohesive film with the core material. Okay, so suppose this is a core material, I want to perform a coating around this. So the characteristic of that my coating material should be such that it should be cohesive with my core material and that should be able to form a film. Okay, now again, if it is providing film, again that should be in proper strength. That means it should have strength, it should have compatibility, it should have flexibility, then it should be non-reactive, it should have proper optical properties, it should be stable. So this all are the characteristics which we are looking for the coating material. Okay, yes, as I said, that should be non-reactive, okay, and chemically compatible with the core material. That should not happen that when I form the coat around my core material, then the properties of my core material changes. No, we don't want that, because core material is our main material. Moving further, let's talk about polymers. As I told you that coating materials are basically polymers which are very much essential to manufacture microcapsules. Okay, so looking at the different types of polymers, there are two main types of polymers according to their nature. Okay, first is synthetic one and the second is the natural polymers. What is synthetic polymers? What are the natural polymers? We know. Okay, again, in case of synthetic polymers, there are two subcategories. First is non-biodegradable polymers and second is biodegradable polymers. Now this polymers, you all will be having a detail, you all are having a chapter on polymers, so I'm not going into detail right now. I'm just going to brief you which kind of polymers are used for the manufacturing of micro and micro capsules. Okay, yes. So first is non-biodegradable polymers, in that the epoxy polymers, and the second is polymethyl methacrylate, that is known as PMMA. Okay, so now for the micro encapsulation for the use in medicine, for the use of medicinal purposes, mostly non-biodegradable polymers are not used. This type of polymers are used in we can say cosmetic industry, or we can say carbon for the manufacturing of carbonless paper, carbonless copying paper. Okay, so in this industries also this micro capsules are used. Okay, so for the medicine purpose, mostly this non-biodegradable polymers are not used. The other category is degradable degradable polymers, biodegradable polymers. Now in case of biodegradable polymers, the main example is PLGA, that is polylactic co-glycolides. Now this category of molecules are highly used for the manufacturing of micro capsules. The other example include carbopol. Okay, so these are the synthetic synthetic biodegradable polymers. Now I have just given you two examples. There are rest many other polymers which can be used. Okay, the next category is natural polymers. Natural polymers which we obtain from natural sources, that includes examples like gelan gum, then chitosan, then agarose, collagen, and many number of molecules, many number of polymers. Okay, so this all are the examples, or these are the types of polymers which are used for the manufacturing of micro capsules. Okay, moving further, these polymers can also be divided based on their water solubility. So they can be divided into four classes according to their water solubility. First class is water soluble polymers. Now water soluble polymers include your PVA, that is polyvinyl alcohol, then PVP, that is polyvinyl pyrrolidone, then gelatin, starch. These all are the examples which are water soluble polymers which are used for the coating of your core material, right? The second category is water insoluble polymers. Now water insoluble includes EC, that is ethyl cellulose, then shellac, then polyethylene. These all are the examples of water insoluble polymers. Next is wax and lipid materials. Now this wax and lipid materials includes beeswax, glycerol, glycerol stearate, stearic acid. This all are the wax and lipid materials. Okay, and the last category is enteric resins. Now enteric resins means these are the specific polymers which will be releasing our drug in the enteric region. Okay, so for enteric region, the polymers which we require are shellac, then cellulose acetate phthalate, which is also known as CAP. Okay, cellulose acetate phthalate. So these are the examples based on water solubility of our polymer. Moving further, the next is advantages of microcapsule. There are n number of advantages of microcapsules which we have already discussed in applications part, but yes, focusing major advantages, then we can tell there are four major advantages. First is that protects the core material from the degradation of environmental conditions, or we can say effective protection against degradation. What kind of degradation? Environmental conditions like oxidation, then we can say a change in pH, okay, of surrounding material. So humidity, this all can affect, or oxidation, this all can affect our core material. So if our core material is very thermosensitive, or which is very sensitive or it is very sensitive to our environmental conditions, then yes, we can provide a coat surrounding our core material and we can protect them. Okay, so yes, we can provide protection. The second advantage is accurately control the release rate of your dosage form. For the conventional dosage form, you take your medicine and that will give release according to the polymers which we have used. Okay, we cannot modify them. But in case of NDDS, that is novel drug delivery system, which, this encapsulation is a part of NDDS, right? So in case of NDDS, we can control the release rate of our product ranging from a day to month. Okay, that we can vary. So if I want my drug to release at specific time, then yes, I can modify that. Okay, I can release my drug from 1 hour to 2, 3, 4, or I can make that drug release up to 1 month. Okay, so that is the major advantage of this NDDS, or we can say major advantage of our micro encapsulated drugs. Okay, moving further, the next advantage is ease of administration. This micro encapsulations are very patient friendly. Okay, very patient patient compliance is there. How patient compliance is there? There are n number of novel drug delivery systems. Say for example implants. Okay, now this implants, again they are the devices which we insert them, then they will release drug at specific rate, as in case of our microcapsule. But now if we talk about this inserts or implants, then they are the macromolecules. Now micro and macro. Micro means small, macro means larger. Okay, so they have to be administered properly. Okay, but where in case of micro encapsules, what is it? It is they are in micron size. Okay, so you can take them orally or you can apply them. So that is ease of administration. If we talk about parenterals, right? Then parenterals, again, they are very for parenterals you need someone who is knowing or who is having skills of injecting drugs. Okay, whereas in case of if we have to take orally drug, then that requires no skills, right? So ease of administration is there in case of microcapsules. And the last advantage is pre-programmed drug release profile we can achieve. That means if I want my drug to be released at zero order kinetics or first order kinetics or whatever that can be, then yes, I can change that release profile of my drug. Okay, so these are the major advantages of our microcapsules. Moving further, the next is disadvantages of microcapsules. As such, it is very promising drug delivery system, but again everyone has their loopholes, right? So this system also have disadvantages. The first disadvantage which we can discuss is it is an expensive process. The second disadvantage is skilled workers are required. This is skill based process. So skilled workers are required. If your worker is not knowing, or if a person is not knowing how to produce microcapsules, or what are the points which needs to be remembered during formulation of microcapsules, or which are the parameters which needs to be controlled during microcapsulation, then what happens? You won't be able to get proper result. You won't be able to get continuous film, okay, or rigid film. So that is again disadvantage. And yes, last, as I explained, that difficult to obtain continuous and uniform film. If you have skilled worker, then there won't be an issue. Okay, so these were the disadvantages of your micro encapsulation. Moving further, the next is basic methods of manufacturing of microcapsules. There are various techniques of producing microcapsules, but there are 6 main techniques which we are going to discuss. They are: first is air suspension, the second is coacervation phase separation, the third one is multi-orifice centrifugal process, then the fourth one is pan coating, then the next is solvent evaporation, and the last is spray drying and spray congealing. From these techniques, there are many techniques which you have already studied, and basic principle will remain same. Okay, so let's start with the first process. The first process is air suspension. Now this air suspension process is also known as booster air suspension process. Now let's catch words. Air suspension, that means there will be air in which your particles will be suspended. Okay, now look at the diagram. This process is very much similar to our fluidized bed process, or I can say fluidized bed dry, which you have studied in drying process. Okay, now what was happening in fluidized bed dryer? Your particles were suspended in air in fluidized state. From beneath the air was coming out, and that were drying your particles. Okay, now same principle applies in this booster process in air suspension. What happens? Your particles which you need to coat, okay, they will be suspended in air, and from the bottom there you have a nozzle. Okay, so from that bottom your coating material will be sprayed. Okay, so what happens, as time passes, that coating material will form coat around that core material. Okay, and that will be producing our microcapsules. Now please remember, this are the formulation of microcapsules. Okay, not the macromolecules. Micro means ranging in form of 1 micrometer to 1000 micrometer. Okay, now in this process typically you can only coat your solid core material. You cannot coat your liquid particles or gaseous particles. Okay, why? Because you need your particles to be suspended in air in this coating chamber, right? So that should be in solid form only, on which you can apply your polymeric coat. Now this process time differs on the various parameters, like which thickness of coating you require, or till what you need the prolonged rate of your microcapsules. Okay, so then what is the thickness which you require for the coating, the density of your material. This all are the various parameters which needs to be kept in mind during the formulation of microcapsules. Okay, moving further, the second process which we are going to discuss today is multi-orifice centrifugal process. Now this multi-orifice centrifugal process, let's catch words. Multi-orifice centrifugal process, there will be a centrifugation equipment in which there will be having multiple orifices through which your drug will come out and then coating will be applied. Okay, so this is the basic principle. Now let's look at the equipment. In equipment, see here you can see what you can say, a cylinder through which your coating material is coming the cylinder through which your core material is coming out. Okay, let me clear one more thing. In this process you can coat your solid particles as well as your liquid particles. Both types of particles can be encapsulated by this method. So yes, this coating, this solution, your coating solution comes out through this cylindrical vessel, below which you have multiple orifices. So what happens, you will be having a uniform particle size, uniform particle shape. So that will be the formation of particles, then that is moving ahead. At the upper part you have your spray, nozzle spray attached, and that nozzle spray will be coating your particles from upper part as well as lower part. Okay, so what happens between is your core material. The spray is coming out from bottom and also from the top, and it is sprayed and your particles are getting ready. Okay, so micro encapsulation, core material is coming out through centrifugal process and then it is coated. This is the centrifugal process. So what happens, it is moving, rotating continuously. So when spray comes from upper part and lower part, there will be a uniform spherical coating. Okay, so this is multiple orifice centrifugal process. I guess it is clear now. Okay, moving further, today we are also going to discuss about pen coating. Now this pen coating, this method you have already started in your tablet coating method, so I am not going into detail. Let's see the questions, which type of questions are being asked in exams. I hope today's session was clear to everyone. But still, if you want to study in detail, then you can refer books like Industry of Pharmacy by Leon Lachman, or you can also refer Alton. Thank you so much everyone. For more such videos, please subscribe Pharma Ignite. Thank you so much.